and welcome to Tomi Talks TV, the place to be to build great love relationships. Now, first of all, I'd like to say a very big thank you for all your likes and your shares and your comments on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. I really appreciate you because you're helping us spread the message further, faster. So thank you very much indeed. Now, today I'd like to talk to you about honoring your marriage. Now, during the course of the week, I was reflecting on a verse of scripture in Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4. And it talks about how that marriage is honorable in all things. And I was thinking about it and I considered the fact that I actually believe that one of the reasons why we have so much crisis in the area of marriage these days is because people do not hold marriage in as much honor as they ought to, or as God intended for us to do. So when you're talking about honoring, it simply means that you place a high value on your marriage. It means that you respect it. It means that you esteem it. It means that you recognize exactly how important it is to God. So in terms of honoring your marriage, what does that mean in practical terms? Well, I'd like to share with you three things that I think will help you in this regard. The first of them is to prioritize your marriage. That simply means that you place your marriage in the place that God intended for it to be. So the marriage relationship is supposed to be second only to your relationship with God. Every other relationship should be secondary to the marriage relationship. So your relationship with your children, relationship with your parents, relationship with your friends, your job, every other relationship should be secondary to the marriage relationship. Marriage does not work when it's not placed as a high priority in your life. So to honor your marriage, you need to place it as a high priority. Now, the second thing that you need to do to be able to honor your marriage is to invest in your marriage. What do I mean by that? You see, you cannot afford to take your marriage relationship for granted. But what tends to happen is that, we do all the pursuit and we do all the hard work on the front end of marriage before we get married. And then once we get married, we just relax and we assume, well, I'm now married to this person, so I can get on with other things in life. But you see, marriages are not self-sustaining. You've got to do everything that you ought to do to sustain your marriage. And what it takes to sustain your marriage is what it took to win that person's heart in the first place before you got married. So you've got to put in the investment, the time, the energy. You've got to study and do everything that you can to make sure that you understand your spouse and you're doing everything that you can to meet your spouse's needs. And that is how you enjoy the best of marriage. So that's the second thing that you need to do to honor your marriage. The third thing that we need to do to honor our marriages is to commit to your marriage. Now, what that simply means is this: once you enter into marriage, you consider it a covenant and you burn the bridges behind you, and in your mind this is meant to be for life. Because one thing I've discovered is this: when you have a plan B, you will not have the motivation to make plan A work. So you need to scratch the word divorce out of your conversation, out of your thinking, and focus on building this marriage and making the best of it. Sometimes people, after they get married, begin to see all the weaknesses and the faults in their spouse, and then the grass begins to look greener on the other side. But you see, the reality is this: if your marriage is going to be an exciting one, then you've got to do everything that you need to do to nurture it, and you must be committed to it. So that's what it takes to honor your marriage. Prioritize your marriage, invest in your marriage, and commit to your marriage. Well, I hope this has helped you. If this has helped you, then please leave me a message on Facebook or Twitter. And if you've got a question you would like me to answer, then head on over to tomitalks.com/ask and I'll answer your question next time. See you next time. Bye-bye.